Good evening, and welcome to the Town Board meeting for the Town of Ossining for September 22nd, 2015. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilperson Jeffrey?
Present.
Councilperson Harder?
Present.
Councilperson Wilshire?
Present.
Councilperson Blaha?
Present.
And Supervisor Donnelly.
Present.
We have this evening a number of public hearings. We'll begin with public hearing in the matter of local law number 5 of 2015, amending notification provisions of the town code.
I just want to make one comment before you start, Madam Clerk. All of these public hearings, except for one with a petition for an extension into the Ossining Consolidated Sewer District, will be adjourned until October 13th. So we're going to do that, but I just want to make that statement at the beginning. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is there anyone who would like to address the board on this issue?
Donna Sharrett, 84 Morningside Drive. As owners of a home at the top of a steeply sloped property in the town of Ossining, my husband and I applaud the proposed change to the notification laws to notify residents up to 500 feet of a proposed action. The proposed change reflects an acknowledgement that our community exists in a sloped landscape and that proposed actions in our town have the potential to be of greater negative impact to residents at greater distance due to the sloped landscape. Notification needs to occur at the start of a proposed action review process. It has been demonstrated that the involvement of residents at the beginning of a proposed action review process brings important information to that review process that might otherwise be overlooked, omitted, or inaccurately presented. It has also been demonstrated that negative impacts to residents can and have occurred when residents are excluded until the public hearing at the very end of the review process. The rezoning of Gordon Avenue from a residential neighborhood to a mixed residential and GB district would be just one example. The requirement to notify neighboring residents 10 days prior to a public hearing is grossly inadequate. This gives residents at most 5 business days to go to the building department during business hours to review all the materials for that proposed project. Many of the materials for a proposed project could be potentially difficult to understand for residents without a law, engineering, or architectural degree. The review process involves the town's lawyer, consultant, engineer, planning board, which consists of 5 members to include architects and the Environmental Advisory Committee. How can residents be asked to interpret these documents unassisted under time constraints? I do understand that documents are put online, but I think that those are hard to read online. It's easier to see them in person. So I don't think that people should be expected. It's still only 10 days, so I don't think it's a lot of time. And then just on a personal note, recently I reviewed a document. I had to read it 3 times before I could understand what it was saying because there was something grossly inaccurate in it. But it took me 3 times to read the document. And I have worked as an archivist, a proofreader, and I do a tremendous amount of research with this kind of dense research materials. And I still had trouble understanding the document. So I think that if it's someone whose English is not the first language or for whatever reason has trouble understanding documents, I think that 10 days is not a lot to go. Particularly some of the projects have a lot of documents in them. I recently had to research information to disprove inaccurate information included in a proposed action review process. My research in part required access to files at the building department and as such necessitated a Freedom of Information law request. Had I been made aware of this particular proposed action as established by the current and proposed notification laws, I would have not had adequate time to comprehend all the documents for this proposed action and do the research necessary to correct this inaccuracy. A requirement to notify neighboring residents 10 days prior to all public hearings presumes that all residents have the luxury to stop all their current commitments and obligations so to immediately upon receipt of notification have the opportunity to go to the building department, immediately comprehend all the documents for the proposed action, and still have time for research and analysis if necessary. The current and proposed notifications laws do not consider the possibility that such short notice might preclude a resident's involvement due to business or vacation schedules. Someone might be away when the notice arrives, or even the possibility of a family commitment, crisis, or tragedy. It's unreasonable to exclude residents from the entire proposed action review process and unduly disadvantages our town residents to the possible benefits of applicants. I've been informed on numerous occasions that the rights of residents and the needs to protect the environment must be balanced with a property owner's right to build. Zoning and project approvals made based almost exclusively on an applicant's application and their input without the involvement of potentially impacted residents is not balanced. This practice heavily favors applicants, too often at the expense of residents, neighborhoods, and our environment. This practice needs to end. I ask you to change the notification laws so that residents within 500 feet of a proposed action are notified upon the town's receipt of an application for that proposed action. Notification needs to occur at the start of a proposed action review process. And then just as a side, I'm going to go off script here. I personally have learned so much when I come to your work sessions or the planning board meetings, just listening to the dialogue between the board members, either planning board or town board members, and the consultants is very informative. So I think that's like a really good way to learn about these projects and not at the very end try to figure everything out. So I would like you to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who's come to address the board on this issue? Not seeing anyone, may I have a motion to adjourn to the October 13th, 2015 meeting?
Motion, so moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, our next public hearing is in the matter of local law number 6 of 2015, amending the tree protection chapter of the town code. Is there anyone here to discuss this?
Donna Sharrett, 84 Morningside Drive. I am mentioning some of these things again because I mentioned them at the last public hearing, and it doesn't, when I went to the work session, it doesn't seem like any of these made it into this final cut, so, or the next cut. So I just wanted to be, to clarify a little bit, and maybe I wasn't clear, or maybe I should speak a little more. On the tree code, section 1720B, I believe that the planting recommendations should follow Cornell Cooperative Extension's guide for planting and maintaining trees and shrubs. Not all planting conditions are the same. The code could refer the applicant to the building department for the approved planting methods. On G, the guarantee for planted trees should be 3 years. 1 year is definitely not enough. If you have, like this year, a drought, or if you have a dry winter when you don't have the snow cover, the tree roots dry out. So 1 year is not enough for a tree to root out. It should be 3 years. On H, instead of the list of trees, I think that there should be some other way. If you didn't want to use the manual that I had referred to last time, that maybe there's a list at the building department or something. But the current list in the tree code is, in my opinion, inadequate. It's too limited, and it's there's a species on there of Norway maple, which is invasive. Just as an information. Before all of us got here and our ancestors, this was a oak and hickory deciduous hardwood forest before we took all the trees down. So I think that it would be nice to somehow reflect what the land used to be and have those included in that list also. 183-5B6, the removal of invasive trees in wetlands and buffers should be permitted. Section 18310E states that under circumstances, certain circumstances, the EAC should submit a written report within 10 days. That's the Environmental Advisory Committee. This group meets on a monthly basis and should be permitted 30 days to comment. 18313C. Again, I think that species choice of trees should be upon approval of whatever approval authority is looking at that. Thank you.
Donna, you want to give, can you give her that too? Or is it going to go? Oh, do you need it back or? Okay.
Is there anyone else who would like to comment on this local law? Not seeing anyone, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to local law number 7, which is a public hearing in the matter of local law 7 of 2015, amending the freshwater, wetlands, watercourses, and water bodies protection chapter of the town code. Is there anyone who would like to address the board on this issue?
Again, Donna Schauer at 84 Morningside Drive. 1052 definitions. I strongly disagree with the second item of the wetland definition in regard to buffers and recommend that this be deleted. Unless, of course, it can be explained how a 50-foot buffer would be adequate on a stream when 100-foot is a scientific recommendation, and which is recommended on a wetland or water body, but the buffer for a stream watercourse is 50 feet, and I don't really understand why that is. So maybe someone has information on that, but that would be my comment. Again, on the growing season definition, the amount of frost-free days does not determine, I have it wrong here, written here. The amount of frost-free days determines the amount of days, but not necessarily a start or end date of a growing season. It would just tell you that there's 150 days that are growing days. Man-made calendar dates do not always correlate to natural conditions, particularly with the unpredictability of rapidly changing conditions due to climate change. So I agree with the growing season definition. The first part of it, where it talks about the biological zero, I think that's an excellent thing to put in there. It's something that I think would be hard for most people to understand, so I think that the second sentence would be something like, for ease of determination, this period can be identified as the time of year when soils are not snow-covered or frozen, and which permits above-ground observation of active herbaceous plant growth. So that would, why all those words are in there is that you do see some herbaceous plant growth in a wetland when there's snow, and that would be your skunk cabbage, which is a miraculous plant. It actually converts starches to sugar and heats up to 50 degrees above ambient temperatures and creates little puddles of water and provides a little bed and breakfast for the first insects of the year. So you wouldn't want to do testing when you see the skunk cabbage because you couldn't get into the soil. But and you also would see trees when there's snow on the ground. So you want to see the active growth of herbaceous, which is plants like grasses or wildflowers, and that would indicate that the grounds have thawed enough to do a testing. Section 105.3, the full report of the wetland delineation should include a description of observed vegetation and plants within delineated boundaries using both scientific and common names. It seems to me that there's something, it's section 105-5B4 seems also included in 105.5C. So I think that it should remain in 105.5C and be deleted from 105.5BA. Like, I don't really understand why it's in two different places. Section 105.6D, I think that there should be a second category, a number 2. There's a number 1 now, and I think the number 2 should be, take those letters C, D, and E. This information was taken out of the Town of Bedford Code, but when you look at the Town of Bedford Code, those 3 items are permitted only to pre-existing single-family residents, and I think that makes a big difference, and I think that should still be, should remain like it is in their code. I still disagree that fences or stone walls should be permitted in a wetland, watercourse, or stream. I think that could change water flow, and if people use pressure-treated wood, it would be toxic, and all that kind of stuff. Section 105(8)(b), 4, and 5. This is about the aquatic organism passage, and I think it's really great that it made it into this. I think that's really fabulous, and you should be commended for that. But I think it should apply to all watercourses, regardless of size, to include those which are ephemeral. So I don't recall if I said this before, and since there's no back and forth between you guys in the public hearing, I apologize if you all know this, but the importance of an ephemeral stream or watercourse, any ephemeral water entity, like a little pool or something. Again, the magic of nature. These little areas are in existence exactly the time when wildlife, like amphibians, need to lay eggs in fishless water. So if the water runs all the time, there's a possibility there's fish, and the fish would eat the eggs. So when they go to these ephemeral streams, they're able to, lay their eggs, and then their mature part of the life, they go to the upland, the dry area, and at the same time the ephemeral waters are drying up. So it's a wonderful dance that these entities do. So I don't think that ephemeral waters should be discounted, and I'd like it if you would at least consider including all the waters and not just the A, B, and C by DEC regulations. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Is there anyone else who's come to address this? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn this public hearing to October 13th, 2015? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That brings us to public hearing, the matter of local law number 8 of 2015, amending the steep slope protection chapter of the town code. Is there anyone who's come to address this issue? Not seeing anyone. May I have a motion to close this public?
No,
Or,
adjourn.
excuse me, adjourn this public hearing
Yeah.
to October the 13th, 2015.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public hearing, the matter of local law number 9, 2015, amending the subdivision of land and zoning chapters of the town code. Is there anyone who's come to address this? Not seeing anyone. May I have a motion to adjourn this public hearing to October 13th, 2015?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I just want to make a comment on the next public hearing. The creation of an architectural review board for the unincorporated area of Ossining has been under consideration for quite a long time. Last year, a committee was formed to study the issue. That committee, which included volunteers from the community, some of them architects, met many times to review the need for an ARB and the scope and the structure of the board. That committee has done an excellent job in recommending the law that we are now considering to create the ARB for the town of Ossining. The need of an ARB, again, it's an architectural review board, was initially recognized due to what many people felt was an inadequate attention to improving agricultural standards in many developments approved for North State Road, the main business district of the unincorporated area. The site plan approval process before the planning board is limited in connection with creating and enforcing architectural standards in the town. The planning board, which has the authority to approve subdivisions and site plans as currently constituted, has only limited authority to review architectural details and to establish minimum architectural standards. By creating an ARB and making it part of the planning board means that the planning board members will also be members of the ARB. We are creating a structure that will not overburden developers or property owners by forcing them to go before two separate boards. At the same time, we will be providing the necessary authority to the planning board to approve architectural quality in new and renovated buildings within the town. The architectural review process will proceed simultaneously with the site plan review process, and with a level of consistency which is fair to the applicants and at the same time furthering the goal of improving the appearance of our town, particularly on North State Road. In crafting the law was given to avoiding to creation of overburdensome regulation which would add expense and delay to small home improvement projects. We believe that the law as proposed properly balances all concerns and the needs of the communities, including our business community.
Is there anyone who's come to address this issue?
John Perillo, 72 Havel Street. Am I to understand it's just an extension of the planning board?
An ARB is usually an extension of the planning board.
Okay, how was it done prior to this under the control?
We didn't have, as in the Village of Ossining has an ARB which is part of the planning board. The town did not have one, so they had only limited, and I don't know if I'm answering questions, but they only had limited say in what the outside of the building looked like.
So would it be fair to say that your building inspector or building department kind of was the overseer of
No, it was fair to say that they could put any kind of outside of the building. So we have a lot of what we refer to as butler buildings.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
I'm only speaking because it is the first time we have this one in front of us. So.
Donna Shower at 84 Morningside Drive. I think this is excellent that you're doing this. It's I think long overdue, and looking at this, it's a lot of work went into it, and I think it's really well thought out. As I said, I learned from going to the work sessions, and I was taken by what Councilman Blaha said about there is a subjectivity to it, and possibly there could be some kind of appeal process. I have no idea what that would be, but I just would like to say that I was taken with his comment, and I think that's a good thing to just at least mull over a little bit. But other than that, I think it's a really excellent thing, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you for your comment.
Is there anyone
And thank
else?
you, sir, for your comment.
Not seeing anyone, may I have a motion to adjourn this public hearing to October?
To October 13th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we encourage everyone to read the details of the law. It's on the webpage, or it can be, or we have some up here, or you can call us at the office, 762-6001. If you don't have online, the ability to go online, and we will surely mail you one.
Now move on to public hearing, the matter of the petition for extension of the Austin Consolidated Sewer District of 73 Morningside Drive. Now, this is an extension of a sewer district requested by one of our residents, and this is something that will be done at their own expense. There will be no cost to the town of Austin whatsoever. Is there anyone that's come to address this?
Just want to make one more statement on that. We encourage anyone that has the ability to join the sewer district to please think about it and come off the septic fields. So.
Is there a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
So rarely close
All
lately.
those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That completes our public hearings for this evening.
Okay.
And we will move on to announcements.
Okay, I just want to start off by expressing to all of our residents and commercial property owners who are of the Jewish faith, as you finish your holy days, we wish you well during your time of reflection for the year gone by as well as for the new year. May your fast be easy. I want to thank everybody. I just have a couple of announcements. We want everyone to know that one of our items on the agenda tonight is we will be appointing our ethics board. Our ethics board went from a 2-member ethics board with a lawyer with one of the town lawyers as part of the ethics board to a 5-member ethics board with the reviewing of all the laws, with the town attorney assigned to it just to be in the liaison. Mark Reisman, our current deputy attorney and liaison to the ethics board, will be meeting with them with the new board until the end of October, and then to come back to the town board with recommendations of policies and procedures to be used by the ethics board. Some of them are spelled out in the law, but now is the time to take it to the next level. We hope never to use the ethics board, but it surely will be there when we need it. The budget is moving along, and it will be the supervisor's budget will be ready on October 30th, and then we will begin the process of the board meeting with department heads as well as reviewing it by the board itself. There will be public hearings on the budget, and we hope we expect a vote in early December. We want to make everybody aware. We want to start making everybody aware that we will be closing the majority of Lewis Angle Park as of October 4th for approximately 1 month. We need to be doing some sewage piping work in there. It will help get rid of the smell if you ever go down there for the concerts, as well as some electric work for the UV system at the spray park. And we will be removing the rest of the chain link fence from the comfort station to the small parking lot and replacing it with the large boulders that everybody likes. We had a meeting this afternoon, and the Westchester Health Department was there. Thank you. Kim was instrumental in putting this meeting together, and the 3 people from the health department and I had a lovely trip down to look at the John Travokas spray park in Lewis Angle Park, and so I could show them exactly where all the equipment was going to go, and it was quite nice. So, thanks. So we're looking forward to getting some projects done still in the town. Madam Clerk.
Are there any other announcements? Not seeing any, we'll move on to public comments on agenda items. Is there anyone who would like to make any comments?
Yeah, at the end you can speak. We have public speaking at the end.
Not seeing anyone, we'll move into our board resolutions. Resolved that the town board of the town of Boston hereby approves the September 1st, 2015 minutes of the special meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the town board of the town of Boston hereby approves the September 8th, 2015 minutes of the regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the town board of the town of Boston hereby approves the voucher detail report dated September 22nd, 2015, in the amount of $278,953.88. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Certiorari, whereas proceedings pursuant to Article 7 of the Real Property Tax Law of the State of New York were instituted by Manufacturers and Traders Trust Company against the town of Boston to review the tax assessments made on petitioner's property located 246J South Highland Avenue, town of Boston, and designated on the tax assessment map of the town of Boston as section 97.19-1-42, all for tax assessment year 2014, which proceedings are now pending in the Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of Westchester, under index number 61226, 2014, and whereas the above petitioner has agreed to a compromise and settlement of such proceedings subject to the approval of the town board, correcting and reducing the assessed valuation of its real property improvements as follows. Tax ID section 97.19, block 1, lot 42, SBL 97.19-1-42, 246J South Highland Avenue, Austin, New York. Whereas it is ordered, adjudged, and decreed that the provisions of RPTL 727 will apply to these proceedings, except that the exceptions referenced in 727-2A and 727-2B with respect to revaluation shall not apply, and that the assessment of the parcel having a tax map number of 97.19-1-42 shall remain less than $90,400 in 2015, 2016, and 2017, and petitioner agrees not to file judicial petitions challenging the assessment of this property, and also not to file any administrative grievances with the Board of Assessment Review in 2015, 2016, and 2017, as long as the assessed value is at or less than $90,400. And whereas it is ordered, adjudged, and decreed that refunds due as a result of the adjustment to the 2014 assessment are waived by petitioner, but any refunds that may become due as a result of the application of this consent judgment and RPTL 727 for 2015, 2016, and 2017 are not waived. And whereas any and all refunds necessitated by said judgment will be made without interest. Whereas the town board, upon the recommendation of the assessor, concurred by the town attorney, finds the proposed settlement appropriate and in the best interest of the town of Austin. Now therefore it is resolved that settlement of the proceedings on the terms set forth herein is hereby accepted and approved, subject to the approval of the Supreme Court, Westchester County, wherein such proceedings are pending. And it is further resolved that the town attorney is hereby authorized and directed to procure and execute any documents necessary to effectuate such settlement. And is further resolved, subject to the approval of the Supreme Court, Westchester County, that the assessor is authorized and directed to make the changes and corrections to the individual unit assessment on the tax assessment roll of the town of Ossing, which will be ordered pursuant to the consent judgment to be entered in accordance with the terms of this settlement, and the receiver of taxes is authorized and directed to process and pay the refund of town of Ossing taxes estimated to be $0, which will be ordered pursuant to said consent judgment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I just wonder why this is so long and detailed versus so many others. Is there a particular reason? I guess we don't have a.
Right. Right.
That's why I read the entire resolution, because it is different from
It
others
is.
that we have had.
Definitely involved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas proceedings pursuant to Article 7 of the Real Property Tax Law of the State of New York were instituted by 1360 Pleasantville Road, LLC, against the town of Ossing to review the tax assessments made on petitioner's property located at 1360 Pleasantville Road in the village of Briarcliff Manor, town of Ossing, and designated on the tax assessment map of the town of Ossing as section 98.10, block 1, lot 3, all for tax assessment years 2011 through 2015, which proceedings are now pending in the Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of Westchester, under index numbers 55713, 2011, 65051, 2012, 6405113, 64614, and whereas the above petitioner has agreed to a compromise and settlement of such proceedings subject to the approval of the town board, correcting and reducing the assessed valuation of its real property and improvements as follows. Whereas any and all refunds necessitated by said settlement will be made without interest, and whereas the town board, upon the recommendation of the assessor, concurred by the town attorney, finds the proposed settlement appropriate and in the best interest of the town of Ossing. Now therefore it is resolved that settlement of the proceedings on the terms set forth herein is hereby accepted and approved, subject to the approval of the Supreme Court, Westchester County, wherein such proceedings are pending. And it is further resolved that the town attorney is hereby authorized and directed to procure and execute any documents necessary to effectuate such settlement. And it is further resolved, subject to the approval of the Supreme Court, Westchester County, that the assessor is authorized and directed to make the changes and corrections to the individual unit assessment on the tax assessment roll of the town of Ossing, which will be ordered pursuant to the consent judgment to be entered in accordance with the terms of this settlement, and the receiver of taxes is authorized and directed to process and pay the refund of town of Ossing taxes estimated to be $2,628.44, which will be ordered pursuant to consent judgment. Do I have a motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas proceedings pursuant to Article 7 of the Real Property Tax Law of the State of New York were instituted by 137 Operators Holding Corp. Against the town of Ossing to review the tax assessment made on petitioner's property located at 1360 Pleasantville Road in the village of Briarcliff Manor, town of Ossing, designated on the tax assessment map of the town of Ossing as Section 98.10, Block 1, Lot 3, all for tax assessment years 2009 to 2010, which proceedings are now pending in the Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of Westchester, under index numbers 22483, 2009, and 23345, 2010, and whereas the above petitioner has agreed to a compromise and settlement of such proceedings subject to the approval of the town board, correcting and reducing the assessed valuation of its real property and improvements. Whereas any and all refunds necessitated by said settlement will be made without interest, and whereas the town board, upon the recommendation of the assessor, concurred by the town attorney, finds the proposed settlement appropriate and in the best interest of the town of Ossing. Now therefore it is resolved that settlement of the proceedings on the terms set forth herein is hereby accepted and approved, subject to the approval of the Supreme Court, Westchester County, when such proceedings are pending, and it is further resolved that the town attorney is hereby authorized and directed to procure and execute any documents necessary to effectuate such settlement, and it is further resolved, subject to the approval of the Supreme Court, Westchester County, that the assessor is authorized and directed to make the changes and corrections to the individual unit assessment on the tax assessment roll of the town of Ossing, which will be ordered pursuant to the consent judgment to be entered in accordance with the terms of this settlement. And the receiver of taxes is authorized and directed to process and pay the refund of town of Ossing taxes estimated to be $1,220.36, which will be ordered pursuant to said consent judgment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas proceedings pursuant to Article 7 of the Real Property Tax Law of the State of New York were instituted by Avalon Ossing LLC against the town of Ossing to review the tax assessments made on petitioner's property located at 217 North Highland Avenue, town of Ossing, and designated on the tax assessment map of the town of Ossing as Section 89.10-1-2, 89.11-1-3, 89.10-1-14, and 89.10-1-2.1 for tax assessment years 2014 and 2015, which proceedings are now pending in the Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of Westchester, under index numbers 652-60-2014, and whereas the petitioners has agreed to a compromise and settlement of such proceedings subject to the approval of the town board, correcting and reducing the assessed valuation of its real property and improvements. Whereas any and all refunds necessitated by said settlement will be made without interest, and whereas the town board, upon the recommendation of the assessor concurred by the town attorney, finds the proposed settlement appropriate and in the best interest of the town of Ossining. Now therefore it is resolved that settlement of the proceedings on the terms set forth herein is hereby accepted and approved, subject to the approval of the Supreme Court, Westchester County, wherein such proceedings are pending, and it is further resolved that the town attorney is hereby authorized and directed to procure and execute any documents necessary to effectuate such settlement, and is further resolved, subject to the approval of the Supreme Court, Westchester County, that the assessor is authorized and directed to make the changes and corrections to the individual unit assessment on the tax assessment roll of the town of Ossining, which will be ordered pursuant to the consent judgment to be entered in accordance with the terms of this settlement. And the receiver of taxes is authorized and directed to process and pay the refund of town of Ossining taxes estimated to be $0, which will be ordered pursuant to said consent judgment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas pursuant to a judgment of foreclosure for unpaid taxes entered by the Supreme Court of the State of New York, Westchester County, the town of Ossining conducted an auction of foreclosed properties at 16 Croton Avenue at 1 p.m. on August the 13th, 2014, in order to sell off properties with delinquent taxes owed to the town of Ossining, one of which was 94 State Street. Tax ID 97.11-1-84, and whereas all present had the opportunity to register and become qualified bidders to bid on the 3 properties for sale under the condition that the party offering the highest purchase price would be awarded the property, subject to a resolution approving such a sale by the town board of the town of Ossining, and whereas Mr. Darwin Younger was the successful bidder at a bid price of $49,000, and whereas the town accepted the high bid of $49,000 for 94 State Street submitted by Mr. Darwin Younger, Ossining, New York, the town accepted a deed for the property from the receiver of taxes, and the town supervisor executed a deed as well as all required transfer documents and forms, thereby effectuating the sale of the premises to the highest bidder. After receipt of the town of the bid price, receipt of which is acknowledged, and whereas by resolution upon conveyance of the property to the high bidder, the bidder became responsible to pay all real property taxes for the property as adjusted from the date of conveyance, with all additional accrued interest and or penalties that may have accrued against the property for unpaid taxes through the day of conveyance being waived. Now therefore it is resolved that the town hereby acknowledges that the unpaid base taxes for the premise accrued through the date of conveyance, August 19th, 2015, is the amount of $16,878.93 for tax ID numbers 97.11-1-84 has been waived and written off by the town. Do I have a motion?
Just want to make a comment on this. This was a property that had been in our foreclosure for a while and had a fire on it, and I drove by it the other day, and one of our agreements was that he would maintain the property and start working on the house, and it appears that he has already begun doing that, and we're happy, and we're more happy for the neighbors who have been requesting that for a long time.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the town board hereby appoints James Nolan, Ossining, to fill the remainder of an unexpired term on the town's Environmental Advisory Committee, set to expire on December 31st, 2017. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the town board hereby appoints Stuart Kahan, Ossining, to a 5-year term on the Town Ethics Board, set to expire on December 31st, 2020. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the town board hereby appoints Sandra Hirsch Ossining to a 4-year term on the Town Ethics Board, set to expire on December 31st, 2019. Do I have a motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the town board hereby appoints Christopher
Camosa.
Camosa, Ossining to a 3-year term on the Town Ethics Board that's set to expire on December 31st, 2018. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the town board hereby appoints Susan Sarch, Ossining to a 2-year term on the Town Ethics Board set to expire on December 31st, 2017. Do I have a motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the town board hereby appoints Laura Houston Whitlinger, Ossining to a 1-year term on the Town Ethics Board set to expire on December 31st, 2016. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the town board hereby reappoints Richard Wishning, Ossining to a 2-year term on the Emergency Medical Services Committee set to expire on August 25th, 2017. Do I have a motion?
This is the committee that all communities that are involved have representation for the Mid-Hudson Ambulance District.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the assessor has acknowledged receipt of an application for refund and credit for 2014 and 2015 real property taxes made pursuant to New York State Real Property Tax Law, Section 557, from the owners of real property having an address of 11 Nelson Avenue and the tax ID number of 97.11-4-26, and whereas in addition to the refund of real property taxes paid in 2014 and 15, such application also seeks to correct the 2013 and 2014 Town of Ossining assessment roll, and whereas following a review of such application by the assessor and the Westchester County Tax Commission, it is their recommendation that the application be approved and implemented as directed. Now therefore be it resolved that the assessment roll for the Town of Ossining and all other applicable records of the assessor, comptroller, and finance department will be corrected to reflect the true and accurate status of the real property located at 11 Nelson Avenue, tax ID of 97.11-4-26, an assessment reduction of $2,000 omitted from the 2013 and 2014 assessment rolls due to a veteran's exemption not extended, and be it further resolved that any and all real property taxes paid and or owed to the town as 2014 and 2015 real property taxes resulting from the inaccurate 2013 and 2014 tax assessment roll be refunded to the property owner of the subject real property in accordance with all applicable laws and regulations, consisting of $49.62 of town tax and $344.91 of county tax. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Yeah, what it was on a particular resident's assessment roll, one of his exemptions was not on. It was his veteran's exemption. It was, yeah, it just wasn't put on.
Okay.
And so the error was caught, and now we're rectifying it.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the town board recently approved the purchase of 2 transit vans for use by the senior nutrition program to replace 2 vehicles in the department that have outlived their usefulness to the town. Whereas the town board authorized the surplus and sale of those vehicles on Auctions International, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Ossining authorizes the 2001 Ford Taurus wagon to be sold to the high bidder of $2,075 to be payable immediately to the Town of Ossining. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That completes your resolutions for this evening. Resolved that the town board of the Town of Ossining hereby accepts the town planning board minutes dated August the 5th, 2015. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have no monthly reports this evening, which will bring us to visitor recognition. Is there anyone who would like to address the board? Kindly give your name and your residential address.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. Recently, I had attended a forum, and I was invited by people of the Jewish faith. And those who know me, that I have participated for over 20 years in as a guest in Temple Israel, Croton Hudson. So I'm very familiar about High Holy Days regarding the Jewish faith. And coming off the streets today, I wasn't really planning on coming here tonight, but there is a concern of why the town board chose to have a town board meeting on the highest holy day. As we speak right now and are assembled in this room, is the most solemn part of Yom Kippur. And I question, would this board entertain a meeting on Christmas Eve? So my thoughts were that you need to be more sensitive because you are disenfranchising a large part of the community that maybe would like to participate in tonight's meeting. I understand full well that you have town board business to take care of. However, I also understand that the village board this evening has canceled their work session to pay respect to the High Holy Day. So I'm not here to badger anyone, but I am here to hopefully you would recognize the importance of what this day is. So I just like to know if you have a comment, fine, of why you had the meeting and not postpone it to another evening. I see that your attorney's not even here this evening. I assume he's practicing and observing, I should say, the High Holy Day. So, is there any answer that I may have, or just...
We couldn't fit it into this week's schedule, but we want to thank you for your comment, and we'll take it into consideration, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who's come to address the board?
Good evening, Town Supervisor, Town Board. My name is Matthew Galata, President founder Galata House. I'm here tonight to give a little update. Saturday, October 10th, from 12 noon to 7 p.m. at Nelson Park. We are going to be coming back to Ossining for Ossining Fall Festival and Music Fest fundraiser at Nelson Park. And we're going to be, a portion of proceeds from this fundraiser will be benefiting Ossining resident Mr. Badger, who was diagnosed with life-threatening heart failure. He has been admitted to the hospital and he awaits a new heart. There's also going to be another Ossining resident to be named later. It was a great turnout last time. We're going to have bands this time. So we're going to be doing bands throughout the day. From 12 to 1, we got Rachel Alexander, Private String Studio. Then we're going to hit with some 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Unborn Mind, which is a blues band. From 4:30 to 6 p.m. we have Silver or Lead, a local Ossining phenomenon. And then from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., Road to Ruin with Mr. Tommy Greaves. So we're going to rock it out over there. We're going to raise a lot of funds. And this time we're going to have Grand Prix from Mount Kisco is going to be there for the kids. The pony rides again with the horses and the ponies and the inflatables and the moonballs. And we even have our local IFCA with their famous water toss for the kids. And we got some crafts. We're really excited about this. It's probably going to be our last event unless something tragic happens and we have to raise some funds. But we want to be very appreciative to the village of Ossining for allowing us to do this at the Nelson Park. And last time we had a lot of fun, a lot of kids volunteer, which we're very appreciative of. And it was a very fun event. The next event is going to be October 16th. It's open to everybody in Westchester County. That's going to be our last event. It's going to be our first annual charity masquerade gala. That's going to be at the Doubletree. And The price is $45 per person, $60 out the door, includes DJ, complimentary hors d'oeuvres, desserts, signature drinks, which are free from 8 to 8:30, it's included, cash bar to follow, and we got some grand prizes. First prize is a one-night stay at the DoubleTree, which includes breakfast, and the second prize is a full spa from Shine and Salon in Ossining. We're very proud to have something locally. We don't have to travel far, and with all the community support, I just want to say for Ossining, up and down the Hudson Valley, thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for considering Galata House when you make your donations. We raised for families already, 22 families we've helped, and this is, I think, our 11th event in 4 months. So it's with your support this is happening. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Galata, could I have some of your flyers, please?
Yes.
And also, can you clarify what time on October 16th the event is?
On October 16th, it's going to start at 8 p.m., and it goes from, that's the free drinks from 8 to 8:30, and from 8:30 to 11:30 is the festivities.
Okay.
And,
you.
and you might take 1 second to just explain to anybody who didn't watch previously what Galata House, its mission is.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Galata House aids Westchester County residents, all Westchester County residents who face a hardship. And depending on the hardship, they send an email through galatahouse@gmail.com, goes through our board, gets reviewed, and then we act on it. We do local scholarships, which we have done already here in Ossining, and also community events. So thank you again, and you guys have a good evening.
Thank you.
Do you have the one for the Nelson Park? Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Is there anyone else who's come to address the board? Not seeing anyone, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I want to wish you a good week, and please be knowledgeable that fall starts tomorrow, and it got a little chilly tonight. I understand we're going to have one more evening of warmth, but we want to make sure everybody stays warm and has a great week. So we'll see you next week. Next Tuesday there'll be no meeting. The next meeting, the October 6th, we will be having a town hall meeting at the library. We will be honoring some of the residents across the whole town of Ossining, which includes 91% of the village of Briarcliff Manor, the village of Ossining, and the unincorporated area, for some of the environmental enhancements they did to their homes, as well as getting a update on the reassessment. So look forward to seeing you at that town hall meeting, and have a wonderful week. Thank you very much.